Aquarius folks, thank you so much for joining my channel. This is Polina talking to you about Pluto going for Aquarius from 2023 till 2044 roundabout. So we have good 20 years of this cycle, and let the fun begin. This is going to be your third house illumination. Well, if I can call it illumination, because Pluto is quite a dark sign, let's just say it's going to be an embedding time in your third house for a good 20 years. So what to plan for? I feel there's many good friends, and then there is just a lot of crap that you might be in for if you don't understand who people are, if you're not very discerning, if you also hate anybody, and also if you're befriending people all the time that have nothing to do with you. So friendships, sometimes it only takes a little bit to mean a lot. So a little pinch, like a little pinch of salt is all you need. You don't need a whole teaspoon of salt. You don't need a big figure in your life. You don't need this mom or dad figure. You don't have to play mommy or daddy with anybody also. It's not important to get a lot of advice. It's great to have just that one person maybe sometimes, or those two people that care. Usually, actually, considering human nature, it doesn't take a lot to please us and to circulate energy around one another. It should never have been like really that big a deal. You don't have to talk to somebody for a long time. You don't have to have them also right there at your begging call all the time. And so it's just about diluting that essence or that emotion that makes you think or feel that you have to have so many things happening at the same time, that you have to have so many friends at your disposal, that you have to collect people, or that you have to be a certain person next to somebody. Role playing is no good around this time. So in 2024, it's already going to be a very apparent thing. It's going to be very hard to be with you if you're playing a game, if you are mommy or daddy, or if you're daughter or son to somebody. It's going to be a very hard relationship that you're going to have to go through, probably a very cruel relationship that you might have to go through if you are not very kind also. So there is like a need to be just nice and simple, to have respect, to have a formula for your conduct and your future life. And also if you're somebody who really doesn't understand social cues, and if you don't understand social business, or if you're just not very sociable, if you don't really want to make a lot of karma at the same time with how you present or what you represent in life and how people read you and what they feel about you and how your also family home is run, because it is going to definitely affect the friendships that you have between you and your loved ones. Home and social conduct, they're still kind of the same thing. You don't just get to sit there and grunt at one another. You still got to talk to each other. It's basically all over if you really understand what you do not want to represent anymore and where you do not want to seek relevance. So I'm seeing a lot of people trying to be mom or dad. I'm still feeling that many people are trying to make an impact on another person with how they present and what they say. People are teaching each other without need. People trying to be too serious or too frugal with their words. There are also a lot of people that don't understand each other these days. They're like, what are you saying? I can't recognize any of the vibrations that you're making right now. I can't understand your accent, or I can't understand what you're doing. So don't be afraid of it. The idea is basically to feel okay about whatever's happening and not to give it so much thought or feeling. So if you are preparing speeches, like before you see somebody, you already know what you're going to say. If you're trying to make impressions on the world, if you're trying to make a lot of friends, or you're trying to make a lot of money or a lot of formula out of the people that you have around you, if you really want to make a sale, it's just going to take you around the bend, and it's going to be a hard day at work. Having shitty days at work, having bad feelings about your day isn't actually the workload. Sometimes it is just loneliness and the information that is floating between you. So maybe also there is a lot of data that you're going through. If you're at a very official job, if you work for, like, say, a certain company, you might feel very sad and depressed. And yes, some of the time it is the data that the company actually is processing, or the data that is processing you. So that is a very hard world out there. I think that also with internet technology and also with very uneconomical ways that people are thinking and feeling, and yeah, before AI technology replaces a lot of human thought and activity, for a little while, it's not going to be that long. It's not going to be it's not going to be the dream. The AI technologies, heads up, isn't like the next stage of survival. It won't. But yeah, for a while it will. It will definitely look like it. Kind of like crypto. Never mind. Okay, so basically, a lot of you guys are, I feel, going through quite a lot of time that you're spending maybe online. Maybe there's a lot of like very, very kind of tricky psychology that people are using. They're trying to like space each other out and kind of spruce each other up. I feel that so many people are trying so hard to appeal to one another and to be gentle with one another and not to fear also like that emotion that sometimes bubbles up, and that is rage. So if you are even a very good father, even a very good friend or husband or wife, it is a very, very hard time because you might get anger and it might tell you how. So like sometimes you're sitting there, you're totally fine, you've composed all your speeches, you have absolutely full control and power over your environment and over the relationships that you have, and you feel like it's going to be nothing but fun. It's going to be fun, you guys. I've controlled everything to the point where it will be nothing but fun. Of course, that's not normal, but it's okay. And then something happens and you might get anger. Also, this might come with automotive skills, like going from place to place, driving. My God, like you might just suddenly swerve off the road, or there could be something very weird happening. So there's like a kind of like emotional, even spiritual Tourette's happening for some people already. They're fine, they've set it all up, everything's okay, they've controlled every single word and feeling, they've done it, and then they're like, ah! They kind of freak out a little bit, and that is what basically makes it not worth a lot or mean anything if you do anything good. So for example, you're lashing out at your children, and then it suddenly is said at the dinner table that they don't want to be at home and they want to go to their mother's house, or they want to go to their auntie's house or something. They don't want to stay around, and these impressions can sometimes last for a long time. So it might be very, very scary and hard for people to be around you, and should they ever find out what you were ever thinking or feeling or actually planning. So it is very, very good to be transparent right now, even though it's hard to be fully transparent in a rabbit year. Most people have something to hide somewhere, but there's going to be quite a lot of people and quite a lot of jobs and quite a lot of institutions maybe also that are going to protrude you and help you grow if you just got it right. So the best way is to just get that small little detail right than to try and spread yourself all over the world. It's not about doing many, many jobs. It's not about being in many, many, many people's lives. It's not about being somebody to somebody else and then somebody else to somebody else. Try to work out of ruckus experiences and like bad behavior, trying to create marriages with different people, wanting to be in love with different people. All of this stuff is very messy, so it's like you try to bounce your energy across the board. It is very, very good for some people. Only a very rare person can handle that stuff, that eclecticism, in the first 5 or so years of this Pluto transit. But there's going to be so many people that are going to have to do so much work and have to so much like do so much to try and balance out these results. So it's like you overpromise something, or you are part of the game that you can't afford to be a part of, or you are taking on too much work or too much stress, or you're making too many friends, or you're doing not enough for yourself, and then suddenly it corrupts and it crashes and things are lost. So like lost, stolen, burnt goods, also things that are not able to be replaced or retrieved. And also some scars in this time could actually not ever be healed. But it's not really about that like danger zone aspect of social interactions, and also like say political interactions in the world. Definitely going to see a lot of that. Never mind, I'm not going to even go there. But like, okay, so like say for example for you guys, for you lot Sagittarians, maybe you don't actually have a lot of time or a lot of prisms as to how to really keep things going. I trust a little bit is enough. A tiny touch of genius is all it takes. A little cute little idea, a tiny job, just one person at a time, having one good friend instead of having the world at your feet is way, way more economical and way better than trying to do it all at once. So if you are very overbearing Sagittarius and you're trying so many things at once, and you want to learn so much more than your body can handle, and you want to be so many more people than you can be, you don't want to have this overpowering potential. Also, I feel that some people are crafting a very, very big slice of life reality, like a huge, huge tumultuous emotional experience. Like people want to be, sometimes it's crazy, people want to be in a war, or they want to be that Mr. Man, or they want to be on the top of a tower somewhere. They want to have these extremist experiences, and that's very much a part of it all. And here I would probably say relax and release it. Maybe it's just a lot of gas. Maybe it's just gas. How about that? Like the answer to world problems. Maybe you just have gas. Yeah, not a very good feeling. But sometimes like people just have to get through things and get involved in much better territories and much better situations. I think that certain people have to get rid of it all and move on. So yeah, you're sort of kind of right if you are choosing some kind of extremist behavior because it is preparing you for loss. Actually, yeah, so stress and experiences that are very, very emotional and sentimental, also things that are very extreme and even mysterious and energizing could be a way that stress or trouble is pushing you in a way towards a conclusion where you're like, okay, listen, I'm going off grid. If this, I'm going. So maybe by 2026, quite a few of you guys might have an idea. You might have already packed your bag and quite many different types of Sagittarian people might listen to what other people are saying and eventually work out an opposite direction plan. So at the moment it's quite controlled and it is looking very kind of even cruel. It's looking very durable, your relationships and your conduct with one another, but eventually the end is just going to be like, if this, cut, and you split. So 26, 28, 2026, 2028 is going to be a phenomenon of constant change for quite a few of you guys, just trying to walk out of it. If you can imagine, you're doing this kind of frantic dance and you're basically trying to shed this energy away and you try not to get caught. Try not to get caught up in people's dreams, trying to not get caught again in another relationship, trying to not get too practical over things. And yeah, I think that your thinking patterns are going to go to an extreme. So there's going to be a real crude an emotional genius vibration coming out of quite a lot of Sagittarians as they're going to just evolve and just basically some of these slogans are very demanding, like F the world or like, you know, going for the win. You know, it's very sporty, it's very like Spartan, very warish, warlike, and also trying to weasel away and constantly weaseling away from responsibility and from cooking up too many things at once, which is where you might eventually thrive. So that's going to be a very good place for you guys. 27, 28, 29 to some degree is going to be like, okay, I figured out a very simple route, and actually if all of that which I've been cooking up before, if this person and if this and if that, I'm never going to help you, or I'm never going to be a part of that energy, or I'm never going to enter that zone. That to me is not feeling that bad, and it's not actually feeling the best. It's just more like people want to really grow with you though. That's going to help you, and then that's going to become another kind of shell that you'll inevitably want to break out of, like a butterfly would break out of a cocoon. So that's a very interesting question. If you are growing a community in a society already, maybe in 2028 there's going to be like itchy feet, there's going to be sore feet. It's like, I want to get on the road, I want to get out of it. And then yeah, a lot of people might never be able to have a home. So this is where the compromise of what Sagittarians have to go through sometimes, time and time again, is that people make you a cocoon, people make you a home, people want to hold you. Yeah, they want you to teach them something, they want you to be vulnerable with them, they're feeding on your energy, they're feeding on your aura. And come 2032 is going to really pay off. And now I know that a lot of you guys are like, oh, it's so boring. Do I have to have another marriage? Do I have to have another country? What? I'm going to have to settle down. I'm going to have to see people as people again. I'm going to have to like hug them close and cry and have these very human experiences. Exactly. I feel quite a lot of you might. But because I'm a little bit skeptical of most human experience on this planet, true fact, I'm going to try and help you out. So between 28, like even 27, 2027 meaning, and 32, 2032, there's going to be some kind of a best friend, some kind of like lover, like some kind of person that you'll never get rid of. Like, this person loves me. It's like, I'll never ever leave, you know, like, or there's going to be people that are like, tell me the story. I want to hear it just from you. I want you to tell me what life is. I want you to love me like no other. Like all of this romantic Twilight stuff, not just Twilight, it's like most American media is probably like, yeah, not just American, world media. It's like this girl meets boy stuff. It's not just that. It's like I finally realized, you know, what life is, or like what love is. Like that melancholic stuff makes you fat, makes you sad, makes you let go of yourself, makes you forgive everything and just start to lie, basically. So lying is very close to this. Why am I saying this? So it's like, sure, honey, yeah, I didn't go anywhere. I stayed at home all day. Promise. You know, like that kind of thing. Promise. Uh, Pinky promise. You know, people starting to make relationships in homes that are not maybe really about them and what they really feel like at the time. It's not really about the good that they're feeling. It's not about their sense of health or help or harvest. It's not about that gregariousness that Sagittarius might be constantly looking out for. It's more like, hey, don't speak of this now. No, we don't want to do this now. Yeah, let's do what I want to do. So this little person that you're in love with, or this little community that you think is so fond of you, might eventually basically start to create censorship, which is exactly what a lot of us people with Sagittarian risings or whatever eventually have to end up understanding. So while you are in a very cozy kind of romantic, even autonomous relationship, you might inevitably get very ugly and angry and scared and sad, or you might just allow yourself to collapse. So a lot of Sagittarians do that later in age. It's like, well, I've done my dash, now I'm going to just fill my belly with beer and potatoes and pork, and I'm going to just have a sleep. So you don't want to be that guy. I mean, I'm not like judging you if you're going to be that guy. It's just, or if you're already going that road. It's just like this giving up on things, and it's like, well, what's healthy anyway? Or who cares? You know, like me and my wife here, or like me and my kids, or like me and my favorite buddy over here. So that homeliness and that sentimentality that I'm seeing the world cooking up for you 28 till 32 is false. Because what I'm seeing is censorship. I'm seeing food that is not compatible with your stomach. I'm seeing a lot of people telling you how, and not a lot of people really telling you what they're really thinking or feeling. So it's like a little economic engagement or arrangement, which then inevitably makes you feel, God, why did I do that? So 2036, I see a lot of broken homes and marriages, definitely. And I'm seeing also a growth in derogatory situations, also a growth in the sex industry. Yeah, really hardcore. And also the growth in some very, very bad situations and climates and environments. Also demographics are going to be turned on their head simply out of reason, actually, because people don't want to have hope and just hide in these little cubby holes with others. They don't want to be rejected constantly, but also hugged at the same time. They don't want to have these complicated marriages or complicated sense of self-worth. So then they're going to be on the street, like seriously, 2036, there's going to be so many people just trying to get by. So like all of that affluence and all of that time spent with somebody seemingly wanting you near, or being part of society that seemingly loves you, but also at the same time kind of like takes your paycheck or like taxes you incredible amounts of money, it's still going to lead you down a weird way. So how to deal with you here? Don't give in, don't give up. So even if you think that you've met the love of your life, and if you think you signed to the best label or the best brand wants you, 28, 27, 2027, 28, some of you guys are going to get really big offers, or you might feel like, okay, my life has come to a pinnacle. It's not a nothing is a pinnacle. You will consistently look for things, more things to do, more things to conquer, or more people to love. It's not important to just be with the one person. I'm not telling you to not get married. I'm just letting you know. You have to be very careful with submitting and giving your whole ego, your body, your mind, your everything to this one energy, one entity. So basically, employment, marriages, homes, communities, families, any kind of conglomerates, religious studies, anything like that, don't just give yourself away, because you won't get yourself back in one piece. So this means to me that we have to be very careful. I have to be careful with my wording. So 2028 till about 2032, there's going to be a very likely make-believe cycle for Sagittarians. When you think you have got it, you have fully gotten yourself together, you have scored the trophy, the world wanted you to be here all along, this is the person of your dreams, so this is the best that you'll ever get in life, and you've got to be so hopeful, and you got to be so good, and you got to give all that energy, all that ego, all that money, all the brilliance, all your energy away to that other person. This is the only person, like this is my only true mission. This is my sacred woman, or this is my holy child, or this is my only home, this is the only place, this is my country. All of that creed is not going to inevitably develop into anything. So if you are even pushed into a very, very close and yes, slightly condescending situation, say no, or like it, yeah, I love it, I love it. Watch it out, watch out, watch out. Do I get what I really want out of life here? Am I criticized? Is somebody watching me all the time, watching my every move? Am I really truly loved, or am I constantly beaten down? Is this real? Is this person criticizing me actually? And I think they're trying to, whatever, like make me a better person, whatever. Is this actually how I want to spend my freaking day? Is this what I really wanted? Is this enough for me? Constantly get lazy. Also, if you want, your body might also naturally start to get kind of soft during that time, kind of like weird, kind of like I don't want anything actually, because that's going to, in a way, combine you with more natural and neutral thoughts. Because if you are always there, packing someone's bag, carrying someone's luggage, driving someone around town, being best daddy for somebody else, being best mom, being the best friend, that's not going to help you. But there are going to be people constantly benefiting from something you have. So there's probably going to be people that you are constantly paying, especially if you're like a mother or father figure. There's going to be people that's constantly being bling 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 paid because you are in the game. So we have to cut that, because then it's like, why? In 2036, it might be a very, very big question. So we got a lot of resurfacing of some people's lives. If you've ever had derelict behavior, if you've ever run away from home, if you've just been walking around, if you've been like, I don't know, on constant trips away, or if you just like never really had anything or anybody, and you could have like always done whatever you wanted, that's actually lucky. It's just that it gets readdressed in society in a very unlucky way. We see that person as a pauper. In, like, say, Australia example, that's not going to be very easy. But, like, say, in a country like, I don't know, even nearby countries like New Zealand isn't so bad. Like, say, if you lived more as a roaming or free caring person, or kind of like self-satisfied person, or a very, very distributed person, like you could be anywhere, anytime you wanted to be, in certain places in the world, like even Southeast Asia, I don't know where, at that time, like where, 2036, there are places where you can still roam and kind of be an okay person for it. It isn't about going full derelict. It is maybe for some people also, and I got to respect that, because it's actually not that far from natural law. You see, people that go and live on a street or that walk around, they are not necessarily misinformed people. They are not maybe that close to society, but they're very close to God. So also, like, I don't want to say too much about that because I don't want to freak you guys out. I'm not talking about these extremes. I'm just saying in 2036, 37, there's going to be people just like floating off. Like, I want to be on an island and don't come near me. Thank you so much. But you're not doing it in an angry way. It's not like, don't you dare come near me. Don't you dare. It's like, I'm just going to float around and leave me alone. But then there's going to be a change. And 2041 gets really uncomfortable. So there could be illness. There could be like negative things. There could be a question of safety and society. And some people are going to also maybe get hurt, as we are going into also eventually Pisces, Pluto territory. It's going to be very hard for some people to succeed or survive if they're not going with the flow. So how to find these currents? Now, there's going to be a very big dream that you have to dream. So to me, 2041, 42, start to risk it and try to make a friend. And if you are not one of those people that are easily seduced anymore, that's really good. It's not about seduction, actually. It's just about not giving your power away, not tricking people into being your number one friend, not making any unconsciously close or like censored connections with people. It's just like having a nice, loyal, simple path, but also not to hold people hostage or accountable for anything. So it's like not about being a judge of character, but it kind of is going to be about that for some people on a more like median level, mediocre level. In 2042, we have to be very kind to one another, and we have to get conglomerates and jobs and things like that going, even if they're not so worthy anymore, even if it is just so hard to even hold yourself upright. And even if those people that you are with or that you're around will not give you hope anymore, and still being a country or still being a wise person or still believing that other people will give you what you want or still caring for what another one says or thinks. Now that's a very hard thing, like say for me, like how do you want to like someone but not kind of be really open for it, but also kind of not being a dick or like not being a master of them and not being a slave to them? Like where do you find that balance? So I don't really need to say that stuff that I was going to say just before. There's a lot of teaching out there as to how to treat yourself and each other in a relationship. Like I would just go ahead and see the religious texts. I mean, I don't have that anymore in me. I don't have any of that in me. I mean, I just see, this is hard to talk about because we're in such high level of organization, and 2042, everything is so like serrated and censored and organized and like polished and clean. It's very, very difficult for me to really talk about this like today in 2023. But I definitely believe that in some sense, censorship or no censorship, it just has to be seen that every single thing that you ever have seen in your life, has been around, has been you, mirrored back to you. Everything is just you, and everything has always just been yours. If you have that as a core feeling, and you release yourself from temptation of wanting any more from life, or wanting to be any more within yourself, and wanting to ask and question people and be like an interrogator, or to be interrogated by the people, you will maybe just be forever flying. It's very easy to fall off the rails as well, in a way. So to go into really hardcore shamanic spirituality, I don't question you guys. You know, if you have like, you know, your Christian or your bohemian thought, that is an okay feeling. It's just that there are more profound spiritual and religious truths also coming to the surface, and maybe they will be the ones holding you up. But this is very, very hard to get right unless you are feeling anything, and most people won't. 20, 41, 42, maybe because of the additives in the water and the food, maybe because of certain other treatments and healing modalities developed by the West specifically, there's going to be probably no more of the same feeling or philosophies that we would have had in the 2030s. So in terms of people becoming kind of, how can I say, pathogen free in a way also, yeah, sure, can kill a lot of bugs there, but it's like people becoming sort of like too cookie cutter and becoming too face value eventually, inevitably, and too safe and too also afraid of doing, thinking, feeling, or even sneezing. All of that is going to be a very big deal, I think, and the computer games that you're playing, the computer world that you're seeing on TV is going to start to come true. So a lot of us are just going to be these real life cartoon characters that are just basically trying to be free by making sure that they're doing the right thing and pressing the right buttons. So that means that the creative associative process is not going to be there, but it is going to definitely go through the roof in some people. So there's going to be a hyper creative, vulnerable and conscious person growing out of all of this, but they're not going to be anywhere near where there is basically the zombie apocalypse. Zombies playing video games and trying to be something that they aren't. So nulling the pain with chemicals and zombie-like behavior, that's not something that we have to necessarily look forward to as a species, but it definitely does happen in these types of societies, like anywhere. And it's not just you and yours, it's not just the human race, it's just the greater universe, so the greater thought process for every living being on Earth. Actually, when it gets to this point of its evolution, it starts to kind of self-sabotage. So don't be that, don't self-sabotage. In the last few years of Pluto, Aquarius, like, you know, trying to get yourself out of the game, you know, having injuries, having accidents, you know, everything like that is very possible. So it's already possible now. So like, we don't want to accidentally get sort of like short reach. It's like, I can't do it. I don't know who I am. Who cares? Yeah. I'll sleep with that person. Then that one too. I don't care. I don't know. People don't like me here. It's okay. I'll still stick around. You know, like all of that self-sabotage and not wanting to solve your own inner puzzle is something that I think most Sagittarians have to really, really be knowing of. Feeling that everything is fine as it is, also when it isn't. It's really like hard for me to teach you anything here. It's just really most important that we get you together during this time, and come what may, in the outer circles of friends or physical relationships or like bodies or sex or love or, you know, adopting dogs and cats, you know, being around children, being around people, like try to make yourself more sophisticated so your inner voice and your inner knowing is more empowered, and it is more geometric, and it is more connected, and it is more kind of blueprinted by the actual planet itself instead of other people's views and visions. That is really hard to organize for you guys, but yes, I can help you there. Maybe in the future I will make some videos that could get you there quicker. There's something that I've gotten myself. I've been working on this for a long time. It's just very, very hard to imagine what a human would be if they stopped playing games and stopped listening to human territories and started to actually listen to themselves and the earth herself. So I think that's probably all I got for you. I don't want to bore you there. And yep, let's do something. Hey, let's do something later. Pluto and Pisces. Let's do something later. Eventually, there will be Pluto and Pisces in 2044 or so. And we have to be very, very kind, and there's going to be a lot of closing of doors. There's going to be so many closures and so many impossible feats as well being made on top of those closures. That is like where the human mind really boggles as to how we're going to be as a species or a race, and it's going to be so very hard for people to really come to terms with also who they are. So can you come to terms with who you are already? Maybe you will skip about 20 years of evolution. Coming to terms with who you are, and not like putting smoke in your own eyes. You know, you sometimes say like, that person tricked me, they put smoke in my eyes, or like as they say, they blew smoke up my ass. Not a very nice saying, but that's how they say it. You know, they sprinkled fairy dust everywhere, and I got so amused and excited, and then I went down the wrong path. Try not to blame anybody for doing that. People like a good battery. People like a good person that pays for everything. People like a good friend. People sometimes just like somebody who's just easy. And that's it. So don't get them wrong. It's not actually their fault. There are lots of people that live in different ways. And yes, there are still incredible parasites in society. And that's not to say that this is also wrong, because if you have an overgrowth, there is going to be a parasite. If you also have become very barren and empty, probably a lot of people might leave and say no. So like, that's the thing. It's not all sad and crazy. It's not scary. It's like, how dare they? Where is the human heart? Where is the human soul? It's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm narrowing this down. And I do understand that some people might get very emotional about this information, but it's just how it works, cause and effect. And yeah, survival. And for that, you have to be very brave and see facts. That is very hard for me also, very hard, just to understand, like, say, why people have children sometimes. What is a wife and what is a husband? Like, what is a person in your life? Why are you having what you're having? Why did you make this garden over here? Or why did you buy that horse? You know, even, you know, in rural society, like, what did you really do it all for? And there needs to be a natural balancing and understanding that things are maybe not as simple as I'm saying here as well. They're not as simple as also you think. It's like people, consciousness, the planet, everything. It does the things it does for a good reason. It's just important not to be part of certain cycles, behaviors, and cause and effect. That could place you in harm's way, especially when it comes to your loved ones, and sometimes, yeah, when it comes to your home and your heart. And basically be out of danger, and don't let anybody blow you off your feet, sway you off your feet. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.